Hi, everyone. This is Daniel Gemario here for the full moon video blog on October 4th, which is when we're doing this. And I'm here with our media maven, Naraya, who is actually not at what we're going to be talking about, but she's the perfect person to be asking me about what has happened over these. Boy, I'm now well into the fourth week of a 5-week road trip, um, which has been a whirlwind of remarkable and amazing events. And I thought it would be really, rather than trying to write a long, detailed article, it would be really great to show some photos. And then for you who have actually been to some of these places, but not on this journey, can ask me about what happened because a whole lot happened. So many things here, including a certification level course, as well as a really new developments regarding the apprenticeship program. And I think what we're going to do is take you through kind of as a travel log through and what has taken place on so far up to this point. Where I am right now is my home away from home here in south of Tucson, and I will be soon returning home. But I only have one more thing to do, which is a workshop with the Kentucky Astrological Organization. That'll be online. I put so many, actually thousands of miles on a rental car doing this. Well, the whole thing started with the Sedona Astrology Club. It's really only their second year that they've really been up and running. And did they ever put up a magnificent production? I had the opportunity to do the keynote address on the turning of the ages and the end of Kali Yuga and the larger cosmological overview of what the times we're in, which we call the Great Turning of the Ages. It's the thing that is fairly often missing in more mainstream astrology is in talking about the larger context. But the other thing that was so exciting about being there and pretty much this entire journey has been under beautiful, clear, dark night skies. And so here's the group of astrologers that were there. And I knew some of them. So a lot of them are the younger astrologers that I had not met before. There's actually someone I knew from 30 years ago, just to my right, Charlotte Benson, and Dennis Harness, who I'd never really spent much time with before, is there. Actually, his daughter came to Faywood Hot Springs, along with Cassiopeia. And then there's Demetra George to my left, who I spent a fair amount of time with in the 1970s and 80s. And we had a nice reunion because of the fact that both of us had an opportunity to be in the same B&B, which is Cassiopeia's B&B. And so I was put up there very nicely by them, and I had a chance to spend some time with Demetra and reconnect there. There's Demetra. And Demetra, many people know for all of her incredible groundbreaking work on the asteroid goddesses. In the last 20 years, she's been heavily into Hellenistic. She told me when we were meeting that she's now finished with that. She wrote her encyclopedias of Hellenistic astrology, and she's now going back into the mythic. So we had a good meeting, staying at the same place. So always good to have seen her. And then we had these two separate nights, and maybe a total of 80 or 90 people went out to this place on the edge of Sedona to share about the night sky. And it's just, I don't have too many photos of this, but this is an example of what it was like. And we did that 2 nights in a row under totally clear skies. We were able to see, the place where the Milky Way branches, and I gave the whole rundown. Actually, one of the most important things that happened there is that on the second night, I brought up at the end of the presentation a topic of which we've spoken a whole lot about in the past, which is what is the implication of AI to astrology? And actually, I brought this up to the group, and they didn't want to leave. They just wanted to keep talking about it because our view in our school is that astrology must remain person to person, soul to soul. Yeah, and not, because at this point now, you can have your own relationship with some AI creation and say, well, Fabio, what is my Saturn in return about? And so basically it's all now coming directly from so-called AI. That's not authentic intelligence, that's artificial intelligence, right? And so our school is so dedicated to keeping it human-centered and to not use large language models for interpretations. And I think it was a pretty strong consensus among the young, particularly the young astrologers there, that they're all in with that idea. So I was really glad to have brought that up to them.
And I find it quite remarkable and really wonderful as well that so many people attended these night sky talks where actually, the more research-based, chart-based astrology is being projected up into the stars, whence it comes from, right? And we can easily lose sight of that even. And there are very few people, as far as I'm aware, that actually have that type of experience and that type of knowledge as you can convey to people in such uh, gatherings. And again, this is not possible online. How are you going out and doing a night sky viewing with 50 people online? No.
Yeah,
That was really wonderful.
the thing that was so exciting is that both Cassiopeia and Arya, Dennis's daughter, who came to Faywood, they just said, "Well, God, how come regular astrology scene right now doesn't include this? How, this?" And so they're now like completely blown open to the fact that for astrology to remain authentic and connected to its roots with land and sky, it's essential.
Mm, mm,
So to be
yeah,
able to get that
absolutely.
across to these young people was really exciting, and I hope it opens more doors so they will learn how to do it themselves. Because I'm passing it on now.
Yeah, no, that's really great. As you said, for some personal reasons, I was not able to attend myself any of these events this year. But certainly when I saw some of the content that was also being circulated on social media and got some of the snippets from here and there via email, I thought, okay, I missed it. And there's just, for me personally and for so many people, there is just so much value in the coming together. And I cannot preach that enough. And I know you are also preaching it to the stars and
Well,
back again, that we really get together in person, and that this aspect of actual sky observation under dark skies, which are rare these days, as we all know and lament, is so important.
well, then I had to leave the Sedona group early, and the reason was because I was meeting with 4 apprentices in my newly established in-person apprenticeship program. And I had to leave early because I drove over to this site, which is so important to my own life. It's actually where I wrote the vows for certification was at that site. And so basically 3 men and a woman who was actually associated with the school 30 years ago, showed up, and for the first time I had an opportunity to recertify someone. She had been fully certified 30 years ago, and Saturn cycle later, she got recertified right there. And the same thing happened for Tom, who was there. So, and actually, all 3 guides that were there were Venus and Virgo, which was really quite appropriate. But I had to leave early to go over there because we wanted to check one of the magical things about that site, which is back in 2005, I saw the most extreme out of bounds moon inch along the cliff face.
Hmm.
And I wanted to see because I wasn't going to be able to get over there when it was beyond 28 degrees declination. The night we were there, it was only almost 27. And so I wanted to see just how precise the alignment there was. And very precise indeed, because actually at 27, you were able to see that's a large amount of space along the horizon. And so the moon did not come up. It was around midnight the moon came up. That it was an out of bounds moon, but it didn't go so far out of bounds to inch up along the edge of the cliff. And so that's the reason we wanted to go over there at that time. But during that time period, became very clear to me how the apprenticeship program will go, because we had 2 days just to be in this wonderful shade structure that was brought by Rohima, and to just go deep. People told their life stories, and we shared everything, including bringing up all the fears they might have about getting involved in a group and an organization. And it was just really deep inner work that everybody was doing. And then we did the night sky work in the evening, and so it was that's how I have to do it now. And I'm thinking of where we can do those next year. Joshua Tree, also back to Fish Lake, and also Sears Point petroglyphs, which you had the opportunity to go to a few years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to give people an idea that this is literally raw camping out in the wilderness, right? There are no facilities there. You put up your tent. If you come with a vehicle, you'll have a vehicle, and that is that. And you are in that raw nature and in a very, very small group, in a very intimate setting, therefore. And I, again, I just have to say, I'm not seeing such a thing anywhere else in the world of astrology, that astrologers really take on what some might say is a bit old-fashioned, but I actually think it's very new-fashioned, the concept of apprenticeship, of very, very small personal groups where they can learn certain things with and from you and experience these sites that in themselves are already transmitting
They
an
are.
initiation. That is an initiation. It's not, a learning with the mind. It's really absorbing the energy of whatever ancestors have been working those sites and whatever contemporary people are working those sites.
Yeah, it's a very, very important what you're saying there, because it's really not that I'm going there to give lectures. It's more like to introduce these individuals to these special sites that did transmit to me, that did call me in. And every time I take people there, I first ask the guardians of those sites, I want to introduce these people to you. And once they're there, and since they were invited in and they did have the transmissions there, they can then take other people there to introduce these special places to them in a sacred way. So that's how I'm seeing it at the moment.
So yeah, personally, I'm very excited of what is unfolding there in that type of apprenticeship program, with some of the sites that are most important to you and have been most important for the formation or within the formation of our school as well. As you said, at Fishlake Valley, at that site, you wrote the vows for our graduation ceremony. And we won't have the time now to go deeper into the story of how you even discovered the site and all of that and what it is all about. I know you have done, I think we did that even together. There is another vlog in this playlist of your monthly vlogs, which I think was the one returning to the sources or returning to source. I can link that in the description box below. And then you also have, there were some pictures and a little bit of a write-up in the previous Wizard Weekly, which I can
And
also.
there's also a YouTube out there, about a 30-minute long YouTube I did with Gemini Brett.
Also about Fishlake Valley. Okay, yeah, I can find those and link them all in the description box below. That is wonderful. Is there anything else? Shall we? I remember that you then from the it's a bit of a detour from the Faywood Hot Springs group. Someone was traveling back in their car to their home, and
I want to talk about that maybe near the end. And show the video,
yeah.
show the photos that we have, those few that you have of Fishlake now.
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to do, because we're going through that document that this person sent you.
Well,
That's what I
no,
was
didn't
bringing that.
you had some that were sent to you from Edmund, I thought too.
We
Oh,
didn't pull
Fishlake.
up those for Fishlake Valley, but I can find them if you want me to. It just takes a moment. So if there's anything else you want to share.
Well, just the people who were there that were in the direct apprenticeship. And by the way, Edmund, I didn't tell you this yet. He says he now wants to be certified.
That's wonderful.
Right. And so therefore Tom was there and Rahima was there and Lizzie was there. And so it was a Virgo moon and three guys with Venus and Virgo, you know. So it was very great and
Okay.
unified.
Let me do this, Daniel, as you keep narrating. I will find the article that you
Well,
published on your Substack, which has some of these pictures, and then I can share that in the screen share. Just give me a
well,
moment.
as you're doing that, I think what you brought up is perfectly appropriate to speak of right now, which is that one of our foundationally certified astrologers in our school, Jamie Smith, she was at Faywood, and she's a Venus and Aries woman, and so she actually drove to Faywood all the way from Boise, Idaho. And near the end, she said, "Well, I'm driving back," and I said, "How would you like to try to find Fishlake Valley?" And she was up for the adventure, and my God, she did. I gave her the directions and the driving route and the whole thing, and she herself had a powerful initiatory experience because she did find it. And I'm going to be asking her to write an article about her adventure there after we finished at Faywood. Actually, you know who else came to Faywood just to go to the petroglyphs was Christopher Emmer. Now he's the guy that actually from an article from the video that he saw that I did years ago, he found Fish Lake himself just from the
Oh,
clues.
wow.
So he'd been there before, which is why he didn't join us there. So here we have some photos that Edmund, these are Edmund ones, or is this from Jamie?
I am not sure now. I think these ones were sent by Lizzie, and this is what you have published on on
All
your
right,
Substack.
right.
Here are the three Venus in Virgo gentlemen,
There we are. Yes. The
which is really
lovers of
great.
the
And
sacred feminine, and here's the five. Yes, I'm glad you
it's a
found
really
them.
lovely photo. I love
There's
it.
Edmund, and there's Rahima on the right, Tom on the far left, and there's Lizzie down there to the right of Edmund. Right.
Yeah,
So
that's it. What was in that? And do you want to show some of the photos
yeah,
as well of the petroglyphs there?
yes.
Let me see if I can pull those up for you. Hang on. Here we go. This is some of the ones that were
These
sent.
is ones that Jamie
Hang
took
on.
when she just
Yeah, I'll
went right
just go
after.
from the
Yeah.
top. Here it starts.
Yeah. Now, that's what I saw when I first went there. Had no idea it was there. I just pulled off the road to camp, and it was something was drawing me there, and I turned around, and that's what I saw, and that's what started the adventure back in about 1996, 97. I took many groups there, and now I've reopened it, reopened that door, and the guardians there are just so happy that as far as I can tell, when this was last used, maybe 1,500 years ago, definitely 2,000 years ago. The Native Americans that are there now don't claim it. Keep it there for a moment. They said that was from those who were here before. The one on the right there, and I've never seen any site anywhere else in the world that has this. It has actually 27 inscriptions there of the 27 stations of the moon. and there's a line in the middle separating it, and that's right at where the command seat is. On the far left is where you sit to watch the different alignments. The one there, that's the seat right there. And then just scroll up to the next one, and you can see another. There's another. So that's like looking toward the mountains, and so that would have to do with the different sunset moon positions. Quite a remarkable site. It has everything. Including the lunar standstill alignments. And it's every time we go there, every time I've gone there, we find new ones, new petroglyphs,
Wow.
areas that we haven't looked at before. So it's a very exciting place to go. And so anyway, so following Fishlake Valley, then the next stop was Faywood Hot Springs. And that was for a week-long Cosmology Intensive, which was well, in the current way we do the courses, it's a certification level course for the level 2, which is on cosmology. And the individual that started his astrological journey in our school, but who's taken it far, I mean, he's just turned it into a complete lifestyle, is Gemini Brett. And so he was there with us for a good portion of the event. And here we are up at the stone circle. This is the star chair. It was built by Elon, who actually was the builder of my design of this stone circle. This is on the top of a hill near where the filling waters are. So this is at Faywood Hot Springs, and this is like a collection of some of the people. There were 24 people there for our event, which was just really perfect. So that's some of the cast of characters that were there.
I just want to pull Gemini Brett up here as well to really also honor his co-facilitating this whole curriculum with you of the Cosmology Intensive. As you said, I mean, he's just taking this to a whole different level.
Well, one thing
so
I haven't
wonderful.
had chance to tell you is that something quite revolutionary happened there. It's something that Brett has been whispering in my ear for years, which is that the way that I have been using the stone circle, if you're going to be doing night sky work, and if you are going to be able to share with people about the directional zodiac, that we were doing it backwards. So basically, this whole thing was a completely, I don't know, I had to really shift everything in my own understanding, and I surrendered it, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. And so we're doing the stones in the opposite direction, so that when you look at the constellation setting, then it's in the motion of the different mystery schools of the stones. Because this is a stone circle with 12 stones with one in the middle, and so now we're seeing that it has to be used differently, and so that all got inaugurated there, and it made for quite a moment of brotherly admiration and love between the two of us, to be able to see that, see, this is an organically changing body of knowledge, that, and here's the stone in the middle. When I lived there in the late 90s, it was straight across, kind of right where the sun is coming up there, is where I used to live. We had there was one day, one night when a huge storm came through, which was so incredibly powerful. But for the most part, we had really clear skies. The other thing we were planning to do there, which got accomplished, something that was 20 years in the making, is that we were planning back in 2005, 2006, to put in 4 more stones, which were lunar standstill stones. However, that's exactly around the time when Elon died. So the stones were up there at the top of the hill, but had never been placed. So that was, we designed the timing for being there to be when there would be an extreme moon, and we could then place the stones in their proper place. So what do you got coming up there next?
Yeah, no, I just want to backtrack a tiny little bit that
Yes.
I actually really find it remarkable and unusual that in this event, what you just described, the student was teaching the teacher. So, I mean, obviously, Gemini Brett is by now also way incredibly a teacher in his own right. And at the same time, you said you had to shift your entire perception about what you had done and what you have described in all kinds of ways. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
always been like that. But that in itself, I find it a remarkable thing to witness, even from afar, from my perspective. As you say, this is an organically evolving body of knowledge. And what this also shows is that whoever it is who comes in with something that they have researched or noticed or realized and they bring it to the table, it is being considered. And I just want to say this because I find it quite rare in today's expert world that someone considers that. Everyone wants to be the top boss in their chosen field of expertise, and normally the ego kicks in and will not allow such a thing to happen. So I
Well,
just want to
it was
make
a
that clear that
tremendous.
I find it remarkable.
Thank you. Well, it was a tremendous contribution, and it makes sense, and it actually made the whole stone circle even happier, to be able to do it that way. And you can feel how happy it was, including the spirit of Elon. He just was thrilled that we were continuing on. And there was a message from him actually in the
Mm.
etheric, which was keep on going. This is really great what you're doing. Keep bringing people here. And the current owners they helped move the stones
Yeah.
to be able to put the 4 new stones in. And actually, another thing that happened, and this was an idea I had, is that these stones were really big. And I was thinking of how it is in some of the recumbent stone circles in Scotland. We didn't erect the stones, we laid them flat. So just on the edge of the circle where the moon will rise or set at the standstill. So they actually are moon altars.
Oh, amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, unfortunately, I don't have any photo of that in particular. But the joking question that I wanted to ask when writing a social media post, but I can as well do it here, is to ask people, what does a digger have to do with astrology?
What does what?
A digger,
Oh,
that's what I also would like to share here, what that looks like, because I mean this really required very hands-on, very strong
yeah.
work to be done here. Hang on, I'm just trying. Where's the digger
And
here?
by the way, there was a young man there. He was the first event he'd come to. Lucas, he's the guy on the left. There's Edmund, and there's Levi, who came for his night sky training. And then there's Edmund, and they're the ones that were most helpful in placing the stones. And actually, Lucas there on the left, once we had the stones on the ground, he was able to just turn them over and move them. I mean, yeah, really. I mean, it was quite remarkable. So this the the owner there. Dave Shirk and his son Damon were operating the machines and helping us move the stones, and they were prepared with a hydraulic thing to dig the holes. But then we decided near the end that no, these are moon altars, and
Hmm.
so we lay them flat so they have a very distinct difference between the standing stones, and that's because I've kind of borrowed a lot of the insights from the British Isles. I used the stone circle as of the Lake Country castle rig style, where the stones are of a different size and they match the horizon from the center stone. And then the recumbent stone circles of the east coast of Scotland around Aberdeenshire, they have the moon altar
I see.
style. And so now we have the moon altar stones, and then you can put little ticks about, okay, where's the 27 extreme, where's the 28 extreme, the really thing, the amazing thing, because on the last day, the day after everyone left, Edmund and Lizzie went up to see the closest moon set, and so they were able to start making. We have to make slight adjustments, but they were there to see the moon set, and it turned out that the moon set was right over where Elon's ashes were. Because Elon's ashes are up there at the site. Don't worry, this is a different Elon, those listening. We're not talking about Mr. Musk. We're talking about a guy named Elon Urwitz, who was the owner of this at that time period and who shared the larger vision of what we're doing there.
Yeah, wonderful. No, that's so incredible. Amazing stuff. Yeah, my dream has always been that someone would come along and become a keeper of the stones at Faywood Hot Springs, a priest or priestess, or a priest and priestess, and take up residence there and really document the working of this circle throughout maybe at least a year or something. Obviously it would be even more impressive if it was during a lunar standstill, which by now we have to wait another couple, 18 years.
Well, it'll still be extreme. It'll be almost 28 still next year. Right. By the way, for those, just what you just said inspired me to say that when we built it back in over a period of about 5 years, we put the stones in their right season. So it was all organically done. It started with the center stone and north and south, but then in each equinox and each solstice, we put additional stones in. So it was done without any even ancient technological tools. It was just simply based upon the seasons themselves telling us where to put the stones.
Only that in our perception, we now have to reverse the direction, correct?
Well, it doesn't change the position of the stones.
No, I know. Just our thinking has to go the other way around.
Aries and Libra stay the same, but the order of the mystery schools now goes the other direction, and it places. I could tell other stories. I won't go there now, but the North Stone is now the one facing north, and the whole directional zodiac thing. The entire Earth is pointing north, even in the southern hemisphere. And so now that's now the south. That's now the South Mystery School. So that's the Cancer Mystery School is now to the north. But anyway, that's you'll have to go there to understand how this works. But as far as
I can only recommend that to anyone. Just
go
there. It's an incredible place.
We'll do another one next year.
Yeah, wonderful. And so I think the final topic that we would also like to cover here somehow is the meaning of this particular picture I'm going to bring up here, and you tell us a little bit about what's going on there. Who are these people?
Well, that's our group, and I found it was actually stored here at Gail's house, this wizard cape that was made for me. And I hadn't used it for a long time, and I didn't have it over there in the Philippines, so Gail found it, and so I used it for the graduation ceremony, and that's some of the individuals, 22 people there, and you'll see another kind of view of it in a photo that comes up later.
And we have a priestess here as well, which I believe is Sylviane, right?
So Sylviane to my left, and there's Levi to the left of her, Lizzie to the right of me, and I think that might be Vivian.
That looks like. I mean, there are other people. I'm just saying that, for anyone who's watching this, again, I have to point out, where else in the world do you actually get certified and initiated into your chosen astrology school in that way, out
Mhm.
on the land, with vows, with a ceremony that really has meaning. It is not just, oh, here's your certificate, right?
Mhm.
This is a bit of a different, as we say here in England, kettle of fish. So yeah, did you want another picture
Yes.
of sorry, I hadn't,
Yeah.
you said earlier you didn't want that, but I'll find it for you. No worries.
Well, you picked out of 4 or 5 others. I wanted to, the one with the whiteboard. I want to tell a story about.
Hang on, I think I have that one here. Wait a minute. One thing at a time. Here we go. Coming. Yeah, you can start telling the story now.
Huh. Well, there's John Dumas there who was able to come for about 3 or 4 days, and he did a fantastic sound healing for us all. He goes all the way back to the beginning of the Shamanic Astrology Mystery School. There's Lizzie, and the reason I will, oh, wait a second, this is the, yikes, it's not the whiteboard. This is, anyway, we were trying, but this will serve for me to tell the story. I've been saying for many months now, we are analog beings trying to figure out how to survive in a digital world. And I spent, 20, 30 years without technology, just using a big whiteboard with markers, right? And so I brought that with me there. I brought it from Gales there. And it turned out that we did not have the capacity to make the the room where we're doing day sessions during the day, to make it dark. So basically, the video slide presentations wouldn't work until night. So therefore, I had the opportunity to do it the old-fashioned way, without the technology, and actually that impacted Brett a bit also, because then he had to just tell more and more and more of his phenomenal stories, rather than relying on the slides and the technology. So that was actually fun for me to do that, because I love getting up there and describing things on a huge whiteboard. That's now stored at Lizzie's place too, so we have that anytime technology fails. I say, what if the micronova wipes out the satellite grid? We're going to have to go back to whiteboards and markers.
And over again, we're saying, from the perspective of this school of TOTAMS, it's not that anyone is against technology. It is just who can still preserve these teachings and this knowledge in the case that technology isn't available to us for whatever reasons. And there are many such reasons that may make such a scenario quite likely in the maybe not even so far future. And so that is also something that one needs to consider on the long run. How we have come from an oral tradition, from an oral teaching tradition, and then everything is just done technologically, and who can even still teach their stuff just
Right.
like
Well,
that.
I've always explained it all the way back to the beginning of the second iteration of, actually all the way back to the harbingers of the turning of the ages. We are not opposed to technology. What I like to say is we are a neo-Luddite school, and what that means is that use technology, but first have an apprenticeship with nature. And then you can choose to use it or not. Our focus is mainly on what our senses are experiencing in the sky, and on the land, and that's why it's still called the shamanic astrology paradigm. So there's earth, sky, in our senses experience. And what I realize at this point is that if you go back before cell phones and before apps, I would have these cardboard kinds of things where you then have your little flashlight with a red cellophane So you look at the sky, learn it from the sky, and then test your knowledge by looking at that. Well, you can do that with a night sky app on your phone. But don't go there first. Go to the sky first and to learn it, and then to verify if you like using the app, right?
Interestingly, and I think I've said that before, that's how I even came to this school, because I was lying under the night sky for extended periods of time under very dark skies. I was looking up. I was starting to literally develop a living relationship with some of these stars out there. And then, oh, well, who are they actually? Right. And that's when I started getting to look up certain things. Oh, that's that constellation. And why is that like that? Why that, that way around? And then comes the astrology. So it literally
Right,
first came from the stars and not the other way around.
right, right. And by
Mm.
the way, this event that we had is how I'm now conceiving how it would be going forward. Is that for level 2 certification, it will be required to take the online course, but I'm now thinking that I can combine over a week the in-person synodic cycle and cosmology because they're different. I mean, we didn't teach everything here that's on the online course. We just mainly were specializing and focusing on the direct experience of the sky. And so I'm
Mm.
thinking I can combine those two because I mean back in the day, I mean before the COVID era began, we used to do 5 or 6 events a year. It's harder for people to travel. It's harder, and it's so we're going to have another in person next year, which will be course 3 in Spain with an eclipse. But there aren't 5 or 6 a year. So therefore, we'll combine the in-person event with the synodic and the cosmology.
Mm.
For certification, you would just take the online courses and then attend that in-person one.
Yeah, that sounds like a wonderful approach. And as always, I can only highly recommend to anyone, you can start with, you can take the whole certification package out immediately, obviously, but you can also start with the foundational package where you get the real foundational core teachings of the school. And then this cosmology and the synodic cycle stuff is the so-called advanced level on top of that, but one can already get certified and become a practicing TOTAMS astrologer with the first 3 courses, and those are all available online, and we'll get new guided groups up for them in a very short time, probably at the beginning of next year. So it's all good and in the pipeline.
Well, let's take a look at a few of those other photos from Faywood.
Hang on. What have we got from Faywood still? I've shown everything that we've pulled up before, but hang on.
There was one of the graduation at night.
Oh, that one. Hang on a moment. Getting there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have to zoom this in here a bit.
We ended up having 6 graduations there.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you to go into it maybe as the last topic for today here of what the graduation is like and those types of things.
So this was done just after sunset. And we had 3, those are the 3, no, well, we have 3 foundational and 3 fully certified. Lorena from Spain, Elise Hebert from, where is she, in Seattle area, I believe, and then Jean Kirk from, I think, where is she? It's in Montana, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, they all there to get their foundational. And then Cristina Moreira from Portugal, who's been with the school a long time, finally got her fully certified document. And Sharon Wright received her full certification. And Gemini Brett, did both. He said, I want to do both of them. So he had not done the foundational, but he certainly qualifies for both. And so he is now fully certified shamanic astrology paradigm totems astrologer. So it's always wonderful to do the graduations up on top of that hill. We have some other people that are ready to graduate as foundational. We have to do that online. They weren't able to get there for that. So that was really fun. We had a perfect night for it, and a very very beautiful ceremony.
Wonderful. And so, as you just mentioned, and I've just popped that into the newsletter that goes out latest tomorrow. We have another in-person event coming up, a course 3. Will there be any graduation ceremonies at that one as well in Spain next August?
Could be.
I suppose so. I'm just mentioning that because if anyone wanted to start now and really be on quite a fast track, they could graduate or almost under the total solar eclipse in Spain next year.
Yeah.
So
Right. And
everyone
also the
welcome.
graduations can happen at the apprenticeship events also, and I'll have a whole plan on that to unveil here soon uh, for next year.
Mm,
There was an additional thing, Naraya, which is that we had this extra day, and there were 9 or 10 people who stayed around for it. And we were going out to this remarkable petroglyph site that's not far from Faywood Hot Springs. And the woman, I think you met her before, Chelsea. She once again, with her partner, Stephen, came and helped us do it. But here's what's really interesting. There's been so much heavy rain there this summer. The regular road that was so easy for even a regular sedan to get to the first site called Pony Hills was impassable in certain areas. So
mm,
therefore, cars had to park to the side, and then people got into the four-wheel drive cars to make it to Pony Hill site. The road to Frying Pan, which has the most remarkable, Phoenician and Mayan and Irish Ogham inscriptions, we couldn't get to. But we did
mm,
have the opportunity to spend many hours, and I didn't get a chance to do it 2 years ago, and I had never really seen these things, which were at the Pony Hill site. And I'm going to ask a person who was there who took a lot of phenomenal photos of that site. It was a solar site. In fact, it had many petroglyphs that were circular with 12 notches and one in the middle. So it was just like the stone circle that was built at Faywood. A remarkable, incredible teaching site. I mean, I know when we were sitting there for many hours. So this was the previous university right here. This was the University of the Land and Sky right on the top of this place called Pony Hills, and that'll always be a feature of whenever we do events at Faywood Hot Springs to go there.
mm. Yeah, incredible, incredible, amazing, amazing stuff, Daniel. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Is there anything else that you would like to add? I think we've covered your adventures quite well here,
Yeah, I
and
think so.
more are to come.
There will be some follow-up articles that, like from about that journey back to Fishlake Valley by Jamie. I'm going to ask her to write something up, and the Pony Hills will follow up on. And then I'm going to be presenting or creating documents about the apprenticeship program going forward, other events next year. Maybe the last thing I'm going to say is that just a reminder that the whole purpose of our school is to first help people achieve their life purpose, because if you know what your life purpose is, it doesn't really matter what happens. I mean, this is the time period of chaos. This is the time period of the composting of the deepest descent of spirit into materialism. It's happened before. It'll happen again whenever the global humanity reaches this point. It has to flip over, and to go back to prime Earth in a whatever way she decides to do it, or whatever way that Shiva decides to do it. Then also the other thing is we're about being seed people. And all these individuals who come to these events, and particularly the apprenticeship program and these in-person events, are really the seed people that keep the vision alive, to dream the vision onward, you know, and that's what we're about. So hopefully this will be inspiring to people, and you'll want to join us. And I mean, our school is based on membership and our courses, and the cosmology course that I did with Brett is a phenomenal deeper dive into all of this. So happy you are joining us here for this video blog.
Thank you so much. And the simplest way of getting in touch with us, go to the website turningoftheages.com. It's really very simple, and there you can find resources, many of them free, of pretty much everything we've been talking about here today, many articles, all the vlogs, all of Daniel's materials, and a special part of the website called Founders Corner. There's our entire calendar of events, and of course a contact form where someone will always be at the other end of the line to respond to your inquiries. And we are just really welcoming anyone who wants to join this motley crowd of seed people for any purpose, anytime. So thank you, Daniel, and enjoy the rest of your travels in the US, and we'll see you from the other side, from your home in the Philippines again.
Thanks for joining me for this. It was really fun. All right.
Take care.
Yeah. Bye.